Hi everyone, so today I'm going to talk to you about biology and how to revise effectively for your biology exam. When I was planning these videos, I was thinking about doing one science one, just one overall how to revise effectively for science, but I thought it's worth breaking them down into the separate biology, chemistry, physics, because I would revise them in very different ways. So I think of biology as the wordy science. It's the one that's a bit nasty. There's too many topics in it, that's always the case. It takes you about twice as long to revise biology compared to chemistry and physics because biology is just absolutely massive. So this is why biology in my head is the wordy one, and I think it requires the most understanding for your exam. And by this I mean you can't just get away with by learning the knowledge, you have to understand it and the principles behind each and every section and topic. Also important this year is that in each of the sciences you have practicals, so don't be forgetting about your required practicals, but we'll move on to that in a minute. And so in these videos we're going to take the approach that we're back in 2017 and we've got mocks coming up in the end of January, let's say Thursday the 25th, and our exam is on June the 12th. So we're going to be just before Christmas, before you break up for Christmas, and we're going to see what sort of approach I would take, first of all for the mock that I would have in January, and then the exam I'd have in June. I would always start revising at least after Christmas. I would always start revising after Christmas, even if it's December the 27th, the 28th, the 29th. It just means that you've got less time to stress out, less time to work yourself up, and it's plenty of time from then to actually plan out your effective revision and give you enough time to get a good mark in that exam. So let's say I start revising on the 27th of December. Now, because it's quite a while for my exam, I don't want to be revising every night. As I've just said, you'll be burnt out. If I had a mock in January, I would be looking at starting to revise at least one topic every week. Now, when I say one topic, it can be ambiguous. One topic to someone might be the entirety of plants on the biology course, whereas somebody else might break down this topic into separate units, such as photosynthesis, plant diseases, structure and transpiration. So depending on how you view these depends on how much you need to revise. If you break down these topics, then you might want to do 3 or 4 topics a week. And that's pretty much what I do. I would read my notes, I would watch videos, I would read the textbook and just keep cycling through these units each week until you cover the whole of the course. Now, by the time you get to your mock in January, you probably haven't done many past paper questions. The teachers might select the few topics that you have done to be in the mock. There's no point in testing you on topics that you haven't even studied yet. Although mocks are good to gauge where you are at the moment, I wouldn't use them as a definite way of I'm going to get this result in the exam, because you've only just started revising. It's probably half the topics on there that will be on the paper, and sometimes it might actually be harder. For instance, if we have 6 topics in the whole of biology, and then we've only done half from up to January, and let's say you don't like 2 of them, then that means that the exam's going to be really hard for you, because you've got all the questions are going to be based off 3 topics and 2 of them you don't like. Whereas if it comes to the exam in June, you might like the other 3 topics and you might do a lot better in them. So don't take this mock result as this is a definite result, this is where I am now, and start stressing out. But the week of the mock, it's entirely dependent on you, on how you would approach it. Now, if it was me, I would try and do a bit every night until the mock. I wouldn't use this mock as a gauge, I wouldn't use it as a definite predicted result for yourself. I would just use it as a first taster of what the exam could be like. Almost like you sat at home doing past paper questions, but in exam conditions. So if you come out of the mock and you find it hard, then it might give you that boost to carry on and push on and do a bit more revision. But likewise, if you find it easy, then you might think, I can actually succeed and do really well in this exam if I put my mind to it. So either way, whether you find it hard or easy, you should use it as a positive to move on and get better mark in your exam. So now we're going to look at the period after the mock, but about 6 to 4 weeks before the actual exam. In this period, it's really important that you don't overwork yourself, but that you stay on top of all of your previous knowledge, because you're going to start learning new stuff now, and you're going to have to carry on revising the old stuff and make sure you remember that. So it's that balancing act of not overworking yourself but doing enough to stay on top of things. Pretty much every teacher and student is in agreement that you need to sort of find a routine that suits you. What I don't necessarily agree with is telling you guys what that routine is. You shouldn't have to, if you don't want to, set up a sort of organiser, a sort of timetable, because I know myself I wouldn't stick to it. Instead, I got myself into a sort of natural routine where I did revision 2 to 3 nights a week maybe, and I found something that worked well for me, not what everyone else was saying I should do. And to this day, going through my GCSEs, A-levels and university now, I haven't actually ever used a timetable for my revision or my workload. I just sort of work off the basis I know what to do, and I just do and work through it each night. So don't feel like you've got to set out a plan and stick to it no matter what. I've tried doing plans, I've tried putting a timetable up, but I just don't follow it. I do revision when I want to and in my sort of routine. In this period, I can suggest a sort of routine that you could follow, and something that has worked well for many students, but again, I don't actually follow this, so I'm not going to say to you guys, make sure you follow this routine to succeed in your exams. Just find something that works for you. A routine that works really well is this. So let's say that you're going to do 2 revision sessions of biology a week, and let's say that you're going to do half an hour in each session, so that's an hour of biology a week. In this routine, what you could do is spend the first 5 minutes revising the knowledge that you did in the last session. So maybe you can do a couple of questions, you can watch a video on it or something to revise and refresh your knowledge from last time. You can then move on to the next topic and understand it for a good 15-20 minutes. So make sure you read around it, understand your notes, go over the textbook, watch videos again, and make sure that you know that topic inside out. The last 10 minutes of the session, you could do past paper questions. So, as I've said, I think that it's really important that you have topic-based questions to do throughout the revision period, but which don't interfere with your sort of mock-based and past paper questions, which come later on. But it's just a matter of finding what you like and what you enjoy, because revision is never going to be easy, and you're never going to remember everything from each session. But if you enjoy revising a topic, then learning a new one, and then trying to apply a new one, then that's the sort of routine that might work for you. Now, let's have a look when we get to that 6 to 4 weeks before your exam, and this is the time where I say now it's proper work time. This is the time where you need to get into a good, solid routine where you spend a good couple of hours a week on each subject. So in this time, you're going to start bringing out the past papers. Now, past papers are a good resource, and you don't necessarily have to sit down in exam conditions to get the best out of them. Sometimes it might help you if you go through a past paper, read the questions, and sort of have the mark scheme to hand and go through each question step by step. As long as you're able to look at the question and attempt it before looking at the mark scheme, then this method might help you. Once you've done a past paper, it might help you to go back through and write out model answers using the mark scheme so that you can retain that information a bit better. Use bullet points, do it on diagrams, whatever works for you to remember that information. Past papers in biology are important because the biology questions are often more difficult than the answers. And by this I mean that the actual answer that you give is not hard, it's the understanding of the question. So for instance, you might go into the exam having learnt about animal and plant cells, and then they give you some weird new life form cell from an alien planet which has been discovered. That's probably going to be in the exam paper, watch out for that. It wouldn't surprise me. But let's say that for example, and it has some weird cell wall made of this new substance, and it's asking you about the components and what's different. But as long as you know the knowledge you're supposed to know, then everything should be fine. They can't test you on something that you don't know. So the answer they'll be looking for will be relating to the knowledge that you know, and not this weird new alien life form cell. In my opinion, biology is always the longer answer ones, so there'll be more 4, 5 and 6 marks in biology compared to chemistry or physics. But that's just my opinion. And the way to get good at these longer answers and understanding what the examiners are looking for is simply to practice them in the past papers, mark them and then re-attempt them. That's the best way to know what points they're specifically looking at in each sort of topic. As I've already said, the practicals are more involved, so you have now 10 required practicals for each subject, I believe, and understanding these is going to be absolutely paramount to getting good grades in your exam. So they're going to try and link these in with your normal knowledge, and then this is where the struggle comes in. Not only are they linking different topics within biology, but now they're bringing in required practical knowledge, and it makes for a really difficult question if they start doing that. They might ask you about diseases in plants and link that to photosynthesis, but then they might bring on some practical knowledge and something that you're expected to know. The practicals will more than likely not come up in their original format, so the format that you did it in at school and understand it, you probably won't see it like that in your exam. They'll probably try and mix it up a little bit and bring on this huge scale. They might talk about industry, they might talk about a new method, but the basic knowledge from that practical will still be required. Just to finish this video off, here are some general tips that I would give to you for revising biology. For biology more than anything, I would concentrate on the knowledge. I wouldn't focus too much on past papers until you get that knowledge, but also the understanding behind the knowledge. The biology exams are becoming more and more about application and linking between subjects, linking between units, bringing in maths, and it's really important that you understand the principles behind a topic in a subject so that you are able to do these links and do these maths related to the certain subject. Don't forget about your practicals, not only the steps involved, but all the different things about the independent and dependent variable, the control variable, the health and safety reasons, the methodology. So if you're weighing out certain substances in a certain way, then that method might come up in a different practical on the exam. Don't expect it to be always blatantly clear what they're asking you. They're testing your knowledge and understanding. In the biology exam, often like the other sciences, you might even get 1 mark for just knowing a keyword or term, so make sure you know them when you go through your revision. You might want to get the keywords from each topic and make a sort of mind map or PowerPoint on them so that you remember what keywords go in what topics. These could be the marks that get you up to that next grade. This point I said in the last video, which was on maths, is learn those standard questions, learn the approach of the exam, and learn the common questions that come up every year. If you can learn the sort of arrangement of the exam almost, so what topics are the easier ones come in the first half of the paper, which are often the longer answer questions that you need to know in more detail, then you can tailor your revision to suit the exam. That's it for now guys anyway. Make sure you look out for the chemistry and physics videos that will be coming up soon. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and go and check out our Twitter for updates on our website and when we'll be going live, because it's very soon guys.